It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Oh, we may not be afraid, but I'll tell you who is. YouTube. Okay, let me headlines. Government orders YouTube to censor protest videos. Forget copyright infringement. YouTube is now complying with removal orders from governments to stop populist rage going viral. That's from Alex Jones' Prison Planet. This is why we have been so slow in a lot of the development that we've done at Freedom's Phoenix, because it's much easier just to get kind of a WordPress thing or a Drupal deal, and you put it on your server, and it kind of gives, a little bit more control. It's to someone else, or you're taking somebody else's modules and you're doing, and you're kind of dependent on whatever. From 2005, we've done our own. It's all original coding. It gets slower and so on, but we made it to where it's open to do what we want to do, to where we don't have to be on someone else's server, on iTunes, on Adobe to do the digital magazine, digital publishing. We don't have to. We can. We choose not to. Why? Because of this. We know that as the Lovelution gets televised, they can't have that. These ideas that are espoused by people like my guest, Larken Rose, are very dangerous to the authorities. Well, Larken's been using traditional media and new media and YouTube to spread his message. So he's susceptible, but we take advantage of these social medias because it's an important message. You want to get out there as much as you can. And, of course, I'm sure he archives his own stuff. He's got it somewhere on a little something. But I wanted to go ahead and have him tell us his story. When he started to get politically active or wanting to express himself, that he does so well, there had to have been a genesis for that. There had to be a motivation, and there wasn't as many outlets. I remember seeing the first Section 861, or they were these small DVDs or CDs that are being passed out all over the place at various different events, and then Larken's trial came to my attention. Larken, help the people understand, where did you come from, man?
This is something that a lot of people assume happened in order that it didn't actually happen in. A lot of people assume that I got into the tax law thing and learning about the Constitution and about what the tax laws actually said, brought it up, went on trial in their kangaroo court, lost, and was just so upset by that I said, well, heck with government entirely. That is not at all what happened. I gave up the belief in government years before I knew anything about tax law at all, and realized that it's a superstition. It's a lie. Nobody has the right to rule me. I own myself. And the reason I focused on the legal thing, because the trial wasn't about a protest. It wasn't, I completely support people who just say, I'm not giving you money because you do horrible, destructive things with it. But that's not what I did. The reason I focused on the legal issue is because I looked out at the country and I said, there are a few 100 million people who are absolutely convinced that they have a moral obligation to obey whatever scribbles the crooks in D.C. officially pass as legislation. And as it happens, I just happened to be digging into it. It was like doing a puzzle for me. I like doing puzzles. And the tax code is just a gigantic puzzle. And when I started to get into it, I thought, all those people out there, they feel a moral obligation to obey the commands of their masters. Well, if I can show them that their masters lied about their own rules, maybe these people will pay attention. Like, I don't think I can get very many people to consider the possibility that it doesn't matter what their commands say. You don't have any moral obligation to obey them at all. Yeah, they're called law, and disobedience is called crime, and they're calling themselves government and authority, and none of that matters. It's all irrelevant. You own yourself. I didn't think I could get people to listen to that, but these people who were so determined to obey the politician scribbles that they view as law, that I thought it would be worth pointing out, well, look what they actually say. It would be akin to, being in a grade school and saying, well, the teacher says that when you come in, you have to give half your lunch to her. But on her board, she has the rules written down, and what it says is, on Tuesday, when you come in, you have to give half your lunch to her. But she takes it every day. She's not even following her own rules. And I thought, well, if I show the other kids that she's not following her own rule, maybe they'll care. As it turned out, they don't. Americans don't care if their government is following its own law. What they are indoctrinated into is that obedience is the virtue. It's all that matters. If they find out the ones in power, the ones pretending to be authority, are violating their own rules, most Americans really don't care. No matter how much you can prove it, no matter how, no matter what the evidence is, all they can see is, you didn't do what the teacher doesn't like you. You didn't do what she said. You're bad. That's all they can process. And that I think that was the extent of the deliberating that my jury and lots of other juries have done in tax cases, is the teacher doesn't like you. You didn't do what she told you to. And you can say something about the rules that they're written down somewhere, but we can't even process that. All we know is we're good because we do as we're told, and you didn't, so you're bad. So we'll say guilty.
Let me ask you this. My experience has been a little bit different. And probably a little bit more optimistic, is that people expect them to be bad. They don't trust them anyway. It's gotten to the point to where they're just so sure that there is a double standard, and they're just, they just want to be left alone. And you're right, there are people that they're running to please the man. They're looking for jack boots to lick. I get it, but a lot of people are just, I go along, get along. I just want, where's my beer and boat, So it's not that they are bamboozled as much as they're just been dulled into just ignoring the noise, and any opposition to that is just more of the same noise, and it's just adds to the amp, to volume of just this bzzz in their life, and they're just trying to get away from it. What is it that you can offer, or you were successful in doing, in separate from this argument, the philosophical and justification for, as more of a light, a path out, or it's like, look, man, I know that's bad. Now start thinking this way, because you've had that impact too. So you went through this phase of, look, they're not following their rules, and they're going, God, what, you didn't know that? I mean, that's the impression that I got. A lot of people, looking at Larken, seriously, you thought that if you showed me that they were bad, that all of a sudden I was going to, learn something I didn't already know? Because I used to have this saying, I go, freedom good, government bad. Then it got to freedom good, government bad, bad, bad. And then it got to 5 bads, and then 7 bads. I mean, how far? What are you going to do? Convince me that they're really, 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 really bad? I already get the bad part. How many bads you got to add on? I need something else that's good. Well, you went through that process. So when we come back, I want to make sure that we're picking up where you left off. You thought that they were going to be able to, become aware by your efforts and the sacrifice that you made and the work that you went through to show them that they are bad. And they didn't react the way you thought they would. And have you found people that are reacting the way that you had hoped that they would? These are the kind of things I want to talk about with Larken Rose when we come back in just a little bit here on Declare Your Independence.